And welcome back to Edric Poon & Company, the podcast where anybody can inspire everybody. I'm Edric, your host, and joining us this week is Mr. Keith Tan, founder and CEO of Crown Digital. Now, this name is probably going to be very familiar to you because you may have come across this thing called Crown Coffee. So he's founded that up, and Crown was founded by Keith in 2015. It started out as a traditional coffee shop, as what you've seen before, but soon they caught the technology bug and they've become a good tech company, solving real-world problems with AI and robotics to deliver the perfect cup of coffee. So it's not just going to be about coffee today, but we're going to look into AI, technology, and not only that, what can we expect in the future as both a business owner and also what AI is going to do for us. So that being said, let's get to the podcast. Hey, hi, Keith.
Hey, hi, Edric. Nice to meet you.
Hey, great. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time off. I mean, you had to make your way all the way back to your office just to do this together for us. Thanks so much.
Most welcome.
All right. So, Keith, when we last spoke, I could really sense your passion, your love for AI. So it's very interesting that the basics of, or at least the basis of where you're coming from, was the love for coffee. And then suddenly you got a love for technology. So maybe you could always tell us a little bit more about from how Crown Coffee became Crown Digital and what the business is all about.
Yeah, so it was 2016 when the company was founded and started our first shop in City Hub in Lavender Street, City Hub 2 actually. And initially it was just a traditional coffee shop, right? Serving great coffee, Italian coffee, and but we were right smack in a state where there are a lot of tech companies around us. Intel's next door, a lot of tech companies around, and they were my customers. And eventually, we opened up a second outlet in DHL's Innovation Center, and that's where I was exposed to a lot of innovation stuff in the Innovation Center. We were serving coffee to, we had a cafe in there, and so I was exposed. That was like 2016, and the world was talking about digital transformation, about how do you embrace technology and go digital. And as we scaled the business, we had 4 at one point, one more in DHL, in SIT and NUS. And then I faced the biggest challenge, which is manpower. And we started hosting a lot of IoT workshops as well. And ideas started to flow. And I thought, hey, there's got to be a better way to do this business. And can I leverage on technology? Can I leverage on data to help me optimize the business? So it was that transition, starting out, because I didn't have that legacy. I mean, 2016 was me starting out in the coffee business, knowing that there's manpower challenge, and I've already used as best as I could to automate as much as possible all the physical, making of coffee with automated systems. But we still needed that human labor, the human capital to run on it on a daily basis. And then that was when I was exposed to the tech, and being immersed with a lot of tech companies around us. That kept ringing my head, and then I decided, okay, let's pivot and let's turn the coffee business into a data-centric one with technology.
So what is it about the whole thing? Like, was it like one of those eureka moments where you were sitting inside the coffee shop, you were running the business, and for lack of a better word, you were eavesdropping, right? Or did you actually go up to them and these guys from Intel and whoever, and you started talking about it and actually asking them what was going on? How did that conversation go? Okay,
I'm a very passionate guy when it comes to coffee. So everyone that comes in and everyone knows is Keith with Crown, and I'll be friends with everybody. And when it comes to coffee, you probably see them every day. And if you don't come in for their coffee, I probably know they are either not working today or they're off, right? So it's the same group of people. We build a relationship, and it's really, for me, solving a problem that I face in the business. So they know that it all started with me trying to figure out how to do things better, and piecing things together. So you have the data scientists from Experian, and I thought, okay, first of all, we need to digitize certain aspects of the business. And then, so when I meet them, I say, hey, I plan to do this. What do you think? And Intel, I'm going to use AI into our POS systems. What do you think? And so things just kind of connected. And it took a lot of, I think we are the use case, we are the domain experts in our business. And you have pockets of different solutions out there and partners. They are in their respective area. It's really to kind of like first have the problem statement, how you want to solve it, and just piecing it together. And it's quite a long process. It wasn't like, immediate, like, okay, today I'm going to turn digital and I'm suddenly, transformed. It was a process of all the pain, all the problems that I was building up, right? And I just want to solve them and then just stitching it together. Yeah.
Right. And when you mention all these pain and problems, right, now this is very interesting because you've pivoted almost, right, that from a traditional coffee or traditional retail setting all the way into the bits and bytes. So you're moving from beans into bytes now. Okay. How does one even transit to something like that? What were the key pain points that you just go, shit, I think we can make this so much better and nobody's doing it. I have to do it.
It was a progression. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't an immediate thing. First of all, is to recognize that, hey, you've got to rethink this business model. This, being so reliant on manpower in Singapore is, you've got to solve that problem, right? And then you make a decision like, okay, let's trial some ways to kind of solve that, right? And you need to kind of digitize it. So eventually, a lot of POCs, a lot of ideas flowing, and then validating it with people. And initially, people were like, "Oh, very interesting," but yeah, they spur you on, but eventually you got to just put it together. And it started off with a POC when we got the robot in Ella, and building it in the cafe. I remember back then it was really small, and we didn't have space, so I had a cart. So I drilled 4 holes, fitted a collaborative robot in it, and Intel really helped because they listened to me, and it's they're a big organization. I'm just that coffee supplier, and they brought me into one of their events in the campus, Intel's campus, and I was given that opportunity to share my ideas to a group of people. And that was my first time in there. It was actually one of their IoT, partnership meetings, and they had a lot of ODMs, those original design manufacturers, and ISVs, the independent software vendors. They are the partners who were there. And I was given that chance to pitch it on stage. And during lunch, they came to me and they went like, Keith, you have great ideas, and let's see what we can do to help you. So initially, it started off with an idea, having someone like Intel believing in it, giving me that chance to kind of share that story. And then amongst their partners who has resource, they have all the resources, but maybe they like ideas and working with startups like myself. And then Intel kind of did a matchmaking process, right? Okay, Keith, you need software guys. You need a POS software up and going quickly, right? Instead of reinventing the wheel, why don't you work with these guys? So they kind of like piece it together for me, like, and then I had to work out with them. And the whole idea kind of came together as a proof of concept, POC's proof of concept. And that was done while we were running a cafe. And then the break came when one day, because we are next to Pico Art, a lot of creative agencies, and they were running a lot of exhibition events. And one of the guys came by and said, Keith, you're working on that robot that makes coffee. We saw it in your cafe, and we have a client that wants it, and it's in Marina Bay Sands. Would you like to, support that event? That was just a proof of concept back then. I said, can I charge? They went like, yeah, a client can pay. I'm like, can I charge like $5,000 a day? And yeah, I think they can pay. And as it turned out, it was Alibaba. So we did that event for them in Marina Bay Sands. That kind of kicked off the whole Ella story, really. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Wow. I mean, talk about a stroke of fortune, man. From the Intel guys, then after it became Alibaba as the ones who came in to actually do that with you.
It was the event organizers that were planning for Alibaba's Alibaba Cloud events
Okay.
in Marina Bay Sands. So, they get a vendor to organize all their events, and the vendors happen to be my clients, right? And they saw, our growth, and they thought that was interesting, serving coffee with robots. And it was a very simple system. We didn't even have the integration done. We were using Vision system to see the buttons and press it with the stylus. It was really, really just an early stage POC. And it's really keeping that belief, keep talking about it. And, I think a lot of this transpired because people gave us a chance. They took me seriously. It's not just talk. It's, I followed up, right? And every time they meet me again, getting the coffee, something has happened. Something has progressed. And they saw that happening. And I think keeping it going, builds up that credibility in a sense. And people would remember you because you have that passion. You have that belief. So whenever they talk about something or an opportunity, say, hey, you know what, I remember these guys, they were working on this, and, maybe I could connect you. That's how I think, if you go back down to the basics, how we really created this out of really just ideas. That's how it happened. Yeah.
One thing I love about that is the authenticity. We're talking about that and your ability to continue sharing your vision, sharing your goals, sharing the ideals that you are really looking at creating. And this is how it all comes about. One of the things that I feel that a lot of people in Singapore, right, especially don't do is a lot of personal branding. We're somewhat shy, right, to tell people our goals. One thing is, on one end, it could be insecurity. Like, we're thinking that, somebody's going to steal my ideas. On the other hand, it's, I just, I don't really want to talk about myself kind of thing. So do you think that, I mean, just on a personal level, right, do you think that this is also lacking among quite a number of even entrepreneurs who are going out there and trying to get business, but not getting enough?
I think it's important to just, reach out and share your ideas. People who are worried about people copying, it's an idea. There's a lot more from ideation to really bring it together and turn it into a commercially viable solution. So just get it going. Just do it. And I think it's really, being authentic, right? Like you said, being real. Right. And people could sense it when you're really working on something, you believe in it, that it's natural, right? It comes out of you, and it's consistent. So every time they see you, it's always that story that you're building on, and there's progression because every time you meet them, something has happened, a new milestone has been reached. They remember you because and I think for me, I'm that I can talk to anyone. I literally, the minute you walk in, I'll look at you. I've not met you before. I'm like, is this the first time here? And yeah. Oh, okay. You know what? Oh, you're going to get a great coffee. And they remember because that kind of connection, even that speech, just that chat, having that really grounded, I mean well, right? I just want to serve you well. They will appreciate and they will remember you and they'll come back and they will talk about you. So I think that's something that is me. Keith, the way I have approached everything, it's been like that.